Good morning. Grab your coffee, settle in, and let's talk about something that's probably in your pocket right now, but you haven't actually looked at in decades. I'm talking about your bank account. No, not the balance, I'm talking about the machine that actually holds it. Every time you tap your card at a coffee shop or check your investment portfolio on a sleek 2026 era app, you think you're using cutting-edge technology. You see the rounded corners, the biometric face scans, the instant notifications. It feels like the future. But here's the reality. You're not just using an app. You're initiating a high-stakes digital conversation with a mainframe computer programmed in 1974. Let that sink in for a second. It sounds like a joke, right? But the data tells a much more sobering story. Did you know that 83% of global financial transactions, from your mortgage payment to that $3 latte, still run on a programming language called COBOL? That's a language that was finalized before the VCR was even a household item. We are talking about 250 billion lines of active code that form the invisible skeleton of the global economy. And here's the part that should make you lean in. The average age of the programmers who actually know how to fix this code is now 58 years old. We are resting our entire digital wealth on a geriatric foundation that hasn't changed since the Nixon administration. Now, you might be thinking, if it isn't broken, why fix it? Well, that's exactly what the world's biggest banks have been saying for 30 years. They've tried to migrate. They've spent billions on digital transformation projects that ended up in the trash. The systems are so deeply buried, so interconnected, and so fragile that moving them is like trying to perform a heart transplant on a patient who's currently running a marathon. But the world is changing. The AI revolution we keep hearing about, it's not just a fancy new feature, it's a massive weight being dropped onto this 50-year-old bridge. And if you think the bridge is holding up well, we need to talk about the $18 trillion cracks starting to show in the pavement. Let's break this down. Okay, let's talk about the real problem. It's a term economists and engineers call technical debt. Think of it like a credit card for logic. When you need to build a new feature fast, say a mobile check deposit, instead of rewriting the old clunky code, you just slap a new layer of software on top of it. You skip the quality work to move fast today, but the interest on that debt starts compounding immediately. Right now, the global cost to fix all this decaying software is estimated at a staggering $18 trillion. That's nearly 20% of the entire world's GDP just to clean up our digital trash. And since November 2022, the moment ChatGPT hit the scene, that debt has been exploding. Here's where it gets wild. We're currently seeing a massive influx of what I call Spaghetti 2.0. Developers are now using AI to generate code faster than ever before. We're talking about 41% of all new enterprise code being AI generated. On the surface, it looks like a productivity miracle. But look closer. These developers are often using AI to dump massive blocks of code into legacy systems that they don't fully understand themselves. It's vibe coding. If it runs, they ship it. But because the AI is just predicting the next most likely character, it lacks a deep understanding of structural integrity. It's creating black boxes within systems that were already fragile. The result? The code churn rate, the speed at which code is deleted or rewritten because it failed, has doubled in just 3 years. I know it sounds like an IT department headache, not a you problem. But think about it this way, 72% of a typical bank's IT budget is now spent just on survival maintenance. They aren't building new things for you. They're just desperately trying to keep the 1974 mainframe from catching fire under the weight of all this new AI-generated vibe code. When the math stops working, the systems start sweating. And when the systems sweat, your access to your own money is the first thing to get hit. We're talking about transaction freezes, account balance errors, and delayed payments becoming a structural feature of life, not just a rare glitch. It's a compounding interest trap that's about to hit a wall. And that wall? It's only 18 months away.
So here's the part I find absolutely fascinating. If the system is this broken, who's actually making money? Because in every crisis, there's a winner. While the traditional banks are drowning in maintenance costs, a new breed of code archaeologists is quietly getting very, very rich. These aren't your typical Silicon Valley startups. These are specialized firms that act as digital surgeons.
They use proprietary AI models not to write new code, but to translate dead languages like COBOL back into something a modern human can understand. The market for software modernization has surged to nearly $29 billion, and the market caps of these archaeology firms have tripled just since January 2026. But let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just about one bank or one app. We live in a global web of dependencies. A glitch in a 50-year-old clearinghouse in New York can ripple through a fintech startup in London and a payroll processor in Tokyo in milliseconds. We saw a hint of this in mid-2024 when several high-profile financial data breaches were traced back to these exact black box legacy systems. They are the primary vector for attacks because nobody actually knows what's inside them anymore. It's like living in a skyscraper where the blueprints were lost 40 years ago, and now everyone is trying to install smart elevators and fiber optic cables by just drilling holes and hoping they don't hit a gas line. The hidden beneficiary here isn't the consumer. It's the firms charging massive premiums to perform emergency digital surgery when the systems inevitably fail. The modernization market is growing at almost 50% a year, while the actual return on equity for traditional banks is shrinking because their IT overhead is eating them alive. If you pay rent, if you have a mortgage, or if you're counting on a pension fund, this part matters. If the world's largest pension funds are starting to pull out of banks that can't prove their architectural integrity, what does that tell you about the safety of the digital gold you think you own? Now, let's take a breath and look at some history, because we've been here before. Believe it or not, in 1968, the world's top scientists met at the NATO Software Engineering Conference. They were panicked. Back then, they realized that software was becoming too complex for any one human to manage. That's actually when the term software engineering was invented. Their solution was brilliant: modular design. Build small, simple, rigorous parts that you can test and verify.
For 50 years, that's what kept the lights on. But today, we're doing the exact opposite. AI is generating complexity faster than any human engineering process can modularize it.
Think about that. We are essentially building a Tower of Babel on top of those 1974 COBOL foundations. In the original story, the tower fell because nobody could understand each other's language anymore. Today we have AI writing code that other AIs audit, while the human architects can no longer read the blueprints. We have 92% similarity to the crisis of 1968, but with one terrifying difference: speed. In 1968, it took years for a system to become unmanageably complex. In 2026, it takes weeks. We're adding 1.5 billion lines of COBOL to the global pile every single year, even while banks tell their shareholders they are modernizing. Some people, like Jensen Huang at NVIDIA, argue that AI is the first tool powerful enough to finally translate those 250 billion lines of legacy code into something modern and efficient. They see it as a refining fire, but bears like Grady Booch warn that AI models are an architectural dead end. They argue we're just flooding the world with AI slop that mimics working code but lacks the deep logical reasoning required for a financial ledger. When you're dealing with your life savings, mimicking working code isn't good enough. You need the truth. And the truth is becoming harder and harder to find in a code base that no human can audit. Let's bring this down to your wallet. Every year, poor software quality, this logic rot we've been talking about, costs the US economy alone roughly $2.41 trillion. That's not a hypothetical number. That's real wealth disappearing into the gaps between old mainframes and new apps. As we head further into 2026, we're likely to see systemic ledger collapse become a household phrase. It won't be a sudden black swan event. It'll be a slow, grinding decline. You'll go to buy groceries and your card will be declined even though you have the funds. You'll check your 401k and the numbers will look off. Not because of a crash, but because the system literally forgot how to tell the truth about your balance. So what's the play? In a world where AI writes code faster than humans can think, the most valuable asset in your portfolio isn't Bitcoin or gold or a tech-heavy index fund. It's structural integrity. It's the systems that actually know how to provide a verifiable, human-auditable trail of where your money is. Before you get dazzled by the next AI-powered financial revolution, ask yourself, what's the foundation? Is it a skyscraper built on a 1974 skeleton that's being patched with digital duct tape? Or is it something built to last because at the end of the day, the math always wins? And right now, the math is telling us that the $18 trillion bill is coming due. The question is, Who's going to be left holding the tab when the green phosphor screens finally go dark? Something to think about next time you see that sleek loading animation on your phone. See you tomorrow.